Hello everyone, my name is Holly and today I have a review video for you. I am always looking for fresh new faces in the indie publishing industry, and the book gods planted one in my hands. I am reviewing today Advent 9 by T. Alan Horn, who I am working with for this video. And of course, all of my thoughts are my own. I feel like I'm just crushing my goal this year, highlighting some under the radar SFF books more often, and we should all be proud of ourselves for that. Go you, because just by watching this video, you are also contributing to the cause. So when this author reached out to me about his book, I thought, heck yes, I've seen this book around Twitter and I've been reading a lot of sci-fi, so it was a great opportunity. But before we really dive deep into this review, give this video a thumbs up because it helps me out a lot, and subscribe if you are not. I'd love to have you here. So I think I know a really great way to grab your attention when it comes to reading this book, and if you know me, then you know it's a video game comparison. I do this a lot around here. Advent 9 reminded me a lot of the infamous video game series. Not as gritty as those games, a little bit more cleaned and maybe pristine, but it involves a crippling city full of crime, a superhero-like main character that's kind of like in that gray area concerning his morals, and just like the overall vibe of the story, dialogue, writing, gave me infamous feelings. Now, I've read many books about people who have abilities or gifts, but this is one of the very few that I've read where they are actually considered superheroes, like crime-fighting superheroes against villains straight out of a comic book. The story here opens up with our hero, Advent 9, who's chilling on a rooftop, listening to the radio like your typical superhero, and it seems like he's known throughout the city, kind of like Spider-Man in this universe. He also has hummingbird companions, which you can kind of see here on the cover, who help him keep watch. They kind of bother him. It's kind of adorable. I thought that was really unique. Anyways, he gets a signal that someone needs help, and very quickly he dispatches the criminals who are harassing a woman. We kind of get a little sneak peek here on the superpowers that he has, but as he heads back, he notices the radio is only producing static, when suddenly someone who calls himself the Doctor releases a statement. And this here is actually our first glimpse of the supervillain, or a supervillain of the story. He warns that he has infected every signal/device in the city, which includes like cell phones, internet, air traffic control, and even police dispatch, which is just a superhero's worst nightmare. This means Advent 9 is going to be hella busy, and this will all be fixed if the Doctor gets back what was stolen from him, which are documents that contain advanced technology data, which is stored away in the police vaults. And he then calls out Advent 9 by name. This sets up the story, though it gets much crazier because this is only night 1. This is nearly a 500-page book, and with every superhero story, we meet grotesque creatures, brutal criminals like mass murderers, other characters that have complex stories, and I think it elevates the main character's motivations a great amount. It has a good mix of dark and also a good mix of light, if you're into that. I also want to add that the main character discovers he has undiagnosed autism. It's great to see something like that portrayed in a book, though it's hard for me to have like an opinion on that, as I don't know that kind of perspective personally, like how well it was done, if the author himself knows someone in his life that experiences autism and that's why he chose to include it. I'd love to know. But nonetheless, it's here, and I don't see that often. And I think it's great representation. So the tagline on the back here says, "You are broken, you are unworthy, you are the world's greatest hope." And truly, you couldn't capture this book more perfectly without that tagline, because the way the story moves along, the way it ends, is very hopeful. I feel like a lot of comic books are like that, and I'd compare this heavily as like a novelization of a comic book. And sure, like both the superhero setting and the hero saves the day with like personal consequences tropes, they've been done to death, at least in the past. I actually hope stuff like this resurfaces again in novel form. In fact, I feel like early booktube days, like 2015, we really got a lot of superhero stories, like dystopian superheroes, and that's kind of died off. But then we have this, and I'd like to see more of this, actually. That said, though, Horn has somehow managed to take all of these familiar ideas and present them in a fresh and entertaining way. But the story is where it's at. There's intrigue and mystery worked into the action, lots of opportunities to make you wonder what's going on and keep you guessing. And true, there's nothing too deep about the story or the world here besides being like a labyrinthian city. That was kind of cool in itself. While you're not going to get like that full-bodied immersion of a long series, what you do get is the rewarding feeling of a completed and self-contained adventure with an ending that makes you think. Sure, like it could have been a little shorter. This thing is chunky. I could tell the author had fun writing it, and I had fun reading it. I loved the writing. It was perfectly paced and balanced. There was action, tension, friendships, and also a lot of funny things too. Quite literally my personality, I need a lot of dark and I need a lot of humor mixed in with it. I really enjoyed this. It surprised me in many ways. I'm glad I had the opportunity to read this physical copy because I got to see some really cool artwork as I read, which heightened the experience. I'll show off a few because they're actually really cool, especially the one that shows off some of the monsters. So that's going to be it for this review. I hope I helped you in some way on deciding whether or not you should give this one a try. I think you should. I'll leave the Amazon link down below if you're interested, as well as some of the author's social media links. If you want to go see what else he's writing, I know I'll be keeping an eye on what he's coming out with next. So I will leave you with this question. In a world full of people with superpowers, which side would you choose? Good or evil? Would you be a superhero or a villain? Tell me in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and thank you, Alan Thorne, for working with me today and allowing me to review your book. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. If I helped you at all on your decision, subscribe if you're not. I'd love to have you here, and until we meet again, happy reading.